I will only tell the truth. I will only tell the truth. Truth.
What's up, y'all? Y'all know what time it is. It's the Fireman, Louis Dooley here for Fire Friday. And as you can see, I got a whole different background around me today. You want to know why? Because today we finna do something I've been wanting to do for years. We can really make a pizza, penitentiary style, AKA prison pizza. And so I got some ingredients here on the table, and I'm gonna walk y'all through how to make a prison pizza so that you can see one of the fine cuisines that we used to make if we had the means in which to do that. Now, let me start off by saying this. If you go on YouTube and if you look at different prison shows, which there are some prison shows and channels of ex-cons out there doing stuff, and man, some of the stuff looks really good, really well produced, and they have some cooking, lots of cooking videos on there. I haven't seen a video making a prison pizza the way that I'm getting ready to make one and the way we used to make one in the state of Missouri. There's a lot of West Coast cats out there throwing stuff together, and that's cool. Ain't casting no shade on them, but I'm finna show you how we did it in the Lou. You dig? All right, so the first thing with the pizza is the crust. You gotta have a crust. A good crust is really good on a pizza to me, and the bad crust is all flimsy and wobbly, ain't really that good. So the first thing we gotta do when we make the crust is we gotta get one of these bad boys right here. Y'all know what this is, right? It's a trash bag. So you gotta be cool with like the day room worker, you know, the guy that has a job of like taking the trash out and sweeping and mopping. You gotta be cool with him and say, hey man, why don't you throw me a couple of trash bags, cause I'm finna bust me a pizza later on today. So if he cool, you know, he'll give you one. If not, you give him a soup or something like that and say, hey man, let me get a trash bag. You know what I'm saying? 15, 20 cents for one of these, you know, get a trash bag. Now you're gonna need a trash bag because we ain't got no ovens in prison. And you know, if you are blessed to be in a correctional facility that lets you use microwaves, that's really the only way you can make this type of pizza. Or they used to allow us to have crock pots, little like 1.5 or 2, 3-quart crock pots, that big. You couldn't change the dial, you just plug it in and boom, it gets hot. So we was able to have a crock pot at some point. And then we also, because we were in the honor dorm, so if you do good and don't get a lot of violations, you can work your way up a tier system where you can get in the honor dorm and they'll allow you different privileges than the rest of the guys get. And that's where I spent a lot of time, and because I was trying to do what was right and follow Christ, and I liked the privileges. And so we had use of a microwave every day, 7 days a week, throughout the day, as we could go out in the day room. And so the first thing you got to do is you got to find your scissors. Now, I had a little helper in here earlier that put my scissors up. So let me get my scissors out. You see this trash bag too long. So the first thing you got to do is you got to take it and leave you about, I don't know, maybe 18 inches, 2 feet to work with. And then you got to cut the trash bag. So it's pretty easy. It's cheap plastic. So cut the trash bag. We're not going to use the top, so we can just throw the top over there. We want to open it up. First ingredient for the crust, ramen noodles. Ramen noodles. Now you might be thinking, how is a noodle not gonna be flimsy and all over the place? Well, I'm gonna show you in a minute. So you gotta take the ramen noodles, and the first thing you wanna do is you wanna bust them up. So go like this about 2, 3, maybe 4 times. Make sure you don't bust the bag, because if you bust the bag, you don't have noodles everywhere. Once you bust it, kind of open it up a little bit, get the air out. Take the season pack out, just set it to the side, and then you want to kind of crush the noodles to make sure they crushed up really fine. And once you get the noodles crushed up, that's right, dump in the trash bag. Dump in here, make sure you get all the noodles out, make sure it's in the bag good in the bottom. And once you get your noodles in there, you just bust as many noodles. Usually kind of the rule of thumb is 2 noodles per person. 2 noodles per person. So you can put a couple noodles in there, and then the next ingredients you're gonna have is graham crackers. Now, they had honey graham and they had cinnamon. I didn't really care for the cinnamon for this recipe, so these are honey graham crackers, and you gotta bust them bad boys up too. Now, we didn't have none of these in prison. We used to use our state boot. you know, and take our boot off and put this on the floor and just hit it. You got to be careful not to bust this bag too. And that's where the top of that other trash bag is good for, because you can kind of wrap it up in here real good so that if you bust it, it'll be all right. I'm going to use this today because it's easier. And you take this and you beat it and bust it all the way down till it's dust. All the way till it's dust. Once you get that busted down till it's dust, then you want to take it just like the noodle. See, my bag busted, so I got stuff falling out. So you want to take this, you want to put it in here, shake it all out, get all that graham cracker dust out. You can put this in that empty bag to consolidate for trash. Eat the little extra pieces that come out. You get to snack a little bit while you're cooking. I like to snack. And so we'll put that to the side for now. Now you got the graham cracker, you got the noodles. Usually, kind of the rule of thumb is for every 6 noodles, you want a whole pack of graham crackers. If you hit 7 or 8 noodles, you need to put more graham crackers. The graham cracker is what's gonna seal the noodle together to make your crust. And to give it that little bit of sweet. We're gonna add some other ingredients, give us a savory, but the graham cracker crust is gonna give us a little bit of a sweet. And so you wanna take this, you wanna kind of shake the bag. Don't bust this bag. You bust this bag, you gotta go holler at Dead Eye. Dead Eye, the one that was the day room worker. Hey, Dead Eye, hey man, let me get another one of the trash bags. You don't wanna holler at Dead Eye cause he one of his eyes don't work. He got a glass eye, and that's why he got the name Dead Eye, and he don't even like that name. So he might come chasing me if I call him Dead Eye too much. But anyway, Dead Eye, let me get another bag. All right, man, I got you on the ramen, man. Come on. So don't bust this bag. Shake this up. Next thing you want, get you a good pair of gloves. Now, these are a little thicker than what you need, but you want to get you a good pair of gloves. So let's put your gloves on because you want to boil you some water. So once your water gets boiled, in the microwave, or we got a thing called a stinger, an immersion heater that you can plug in the wall and put in some water and boil it. That take too long, microwave much quicker. Or, you know, if it's a long line on the microwave and you're trying to get in there to boil your water, you might want to use a stinger and you need a lot of water. I don't know, I kind of eye up the water to noodle graham cracker ratio, but this water ain't really boiling right now. So I ain't gonna burn myself, but you want to pour the water in here. And then you want to, don't let none of it drip out. You want to take it and you want to knead it. You want to try to get all the noodles and the graham crackers wet. Get it all saturated. You don't want it like soup where it's like all runny, but I can tell right now from this consistency, I can still feel some dry noodles and stuff in there. So then you just open the bag back up. You pour a little bit more water in that bad boy. All right. Boom, you set that down. Be careful with that hot water, man, it'll burn you up. And see my bag, like it's got a little hole in it. So sometimes you gotta double these bags up anyway, just to be on the safe side. But once I got a hole in there. So once you get that in there, you wanna feel it and feel the consistency. The gloves are, cause that boiling water hot and it'll scald you through this little bag. So once you get this to where it's feeling like it's kind of taut, or kind of like getting solid, like congealed. And then you can even take a look at it. You open it up and look. If it looks a little runny, sometimes you might need to add a little bit more soup, or better to add a little bit more graham cracker powder, because that'll sop that water up real quick. So we're gonna put this over here in the sink real quick and get rid of it, because that was just a demo for y'all. You know how it is with the magic of TV and videos, is that I already made a whole crust. And so I wanted to show y'all how you make it. Now we're gonna look at the finished product and we're actually going to put a piece of it together. So I put it in the fridge. I had it in the fridge, but I took it out and I got it right here. So we don't have no refrigerators. You can take a bucket. Sometimes you can get your hands on a 5-gallon bucket. Hey Rob, man, let me get one of them buckets, homie. All right. Get a 5-gallon bucket, put ice in it, and set this on the top. That'll cool it off. Otherwise, it can take some hours to cool this thing off and let it congeal. And so this thing here is still a little warm, but it's good. And as you can see, the bag, it ain't all soppy. It's actually like a big old lump. And so what we normally do is when we be making these pieces, we make them for all different kind of occasions. Sometimes we'll make like a one-seater or a two-seater. Now, what is that? A one-seater is one person and a two-seater is two people. So like if I got, a little bit of a beef sausage, I got a little bit of cheese, it's kind of like my commissary getting kind of low, then I can go ahead and just make a little small, like a personal pan. You can call it that, but we call them one-seaters. Or if your celly got a little bit of commissary and say I got a beef sausage and I got some cheese and some jalapeno peppers, he might have some graham crackers and some other ingredients and we can like collaborate. I can say, hey, celly, check this out. You want to throw a pizza together? You want to whip something up? He might be like, all right, cool. So I say, man, that's what I got. He'll say, that's what he got. Sometimes we got enough for a two-seater. Sometimes we missing some key components. And then we got to go ahead and we got to get somebody else involved. So we go out in the wing and holler at one of our partners or Christian brothers and say, hey, check this out, man. We need woo, woo, woo. Like, do you got that? He might be like, yeah, I got that. Do you want to get in on this pizza with us? Sometimes they're like, yeah, let me get in. Well, now it's three of us. Remember the 2 soup per person ratio? So now I went from a one-seater, 2 soups by myself, to my celly 4 soups. Now we got him 6 soups. And sometimes if like I'm not no little dude, and if I'm a kind of big dude and these other dudes is big dudes too, we might need to do like a 2.5 to 3 soup ratio. And the way you figure that out is like, if I made some ramen noodles just to eat the soup, how many am I gonna eat that's gonna fill me up? 2 is a lot. So if you get to 2.5 or 3, you're gonna be swole when you get through eating, or maybe you cooking enough so you can have leftovers. Got to keep in mind, though, when you're making it, the topping is the most expensive part, and those are the key ingredients. You don't want to have no gigantic crust, and then you got a little bitty bowl of toppings, where you got to spread it all out so thin that, you can't even hardly taste the toppings because you eating so much crust. So anyway, that's what we'll do. And so we would take a piece of cardboard if we can get our hands on it. We can get our hands on a lot of stuff. Non-dangerous stuff mostly. Get some cardboard, we'll take another trash bag and we'll put it over the cardboard and tie it up in the back and make it real tight. And then we'll flip that ball of dough right onto the trash, to that cardboard in the trash bag. Now, as you can see, I'm just putting it here on this island because I cleaned it up real good and it's gonna work just good. But you can see, check this out. This is the graham cracker and the ramen noodle that I put in the bag, and look at that. I mean, it's intact, right? It's like a big ball of dough, if you will. And so now for any of my Italiano brothers and sisters out there, or any of my chefs that like messing with kneading the dough, we don't need to knead this, but we do need to like press it out. So we're gonna press this bad boy out. And you can see it's tight. Like I'm actually putting pressure, like a lot of muscle into this to get this thing. You want to thin it out. Now, if you want like a thick pan crust, then leave it a little bit thicker. But then you're going to taste a lot more crust. I like the crust, it's good, but I like the toppings better. And so you see I'm kind of pushing it into like a circular shape. So it kind of looks like a pizza. The only reason why this is a pizza is because I'm making it round, it has a crust, and I'm gonna put toppings on it. But it's already cooked. Like, this isn't going to cook. The crust is already cooked. I got some ingredients pre-cooked over there that I'm gonna talk about in a few minutes. I just wanna get this crust out there and get it pressed so it can still cool off some. It ain't really hot, but I can still feel that it's warm. And so I'm pressing this out. Hey, a lot of times what we'll do, I kind of forgot, it's been a long time, is we'll take some of those ramen noodle bags that's empty, slip them on our hands like gloves. So then this stuff ain't sticking to our hands. I forgot, but it's all good. And plus sanitary purposes. Like I'm gonna eat this and maybe my wife, maybe my stepson might eat some. But when I'm in the penitentiary and some dude making a pizza and I see he got his old butt-naked hands on it, I'm like, nah, player. Like, you can't be putting your hands all on my food like that. I don't know where your hands been. I don't know what you've been doing. Because dudes be doing some crazy stuff on the inside. And so I'm pressing this crust out, trying to get it. And it's sticky, man. It's sticking. Look, I done pulled a hole. The good thing about it is when you pull it apart, you can like kind of like dough, push it back together. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be done with this because this stuff's starting to stick. So let me rinse my hands real quick. So that's what the dough looks like. That's what the crust looks like. And I know y'all really impressed. I know y'all like, dang, like, that's pretty dope. Yeah, you probably thinking, like, who came up with that? Who invented that? Man, look, I can't tell you who came up with it. As a matter of fact, I remember the first time I saw a pizza. It was after Bible study one day. And we came in, about maybe 10 of us in that wing, and other guys lived in other wings. And I got in and went and put my Bible up, and I don't remember what we talked about, but I came out in the day room and some guys were playing dominoes. And so I was just sitting there waiting on the winners. And so all of a sudden, I see my celly. Now, my celly went to church too. And I seen him and another brother on the top walk get together outside my cell. And I didn't really think nothing of it. And so I started playing dominoes. And, you know, maybe about 20, 30 minutes later, I see them coming from my cell, and they got a piece of cardboard with a trash bag on it. I didn't know what it was at the time. And it looked like it was round. It looked like a doggone real pizza. And I'm like, where these fools get a pizza from? Like, you couldn't get no pizza in the penitentiary. And I was probably about, I don't know, maybe 60, 70 feet away. So I wasn't too far, but I wasn't real close. And I seen him walk over to the microwave. So I'm like, man, I'm finna go see what's up. So I go over there and look. And when I got closer, I could tell it wasn't like a real pizza from the streets, but it was round. It had all kind of stuff, and it looked a lot like a pizza. And I'm like, dang, man, where y'all get that at? They was like, man, we whipped it up. And I was like, man, why don't you break a brother a piece of that off? He's like, oh, you want a slice? I'm like, yeah, when y'all get done. And so that was the first time I seen a pizza. And then since that was my celly and the other brother that made it, I told my celly later, man, teach me how to make one. And so he showed me how they made theirs. But then I got introduced to some guys that was straight raw. Like they pizza was pretty much the same format, but they really couldn't cook. I ran into some dudes that could throw down, and they showed me how to really throw down. Like, for instance, they crust had graham cracker in it, or I take that back. Their crust had ramen noodles in it, but instead of graham cracker, they had regular saltine crackers to make it stick. Now, the thing about the saltine crackers are they pasty. That's a lot of salt. And it doesn't have that sugar in it that the graham cracker does, because that sugar, when it gets hot with that water, it like sticks and congeals together and brings the noodles together. If you can see a close up to this, you can see a kind of a mosaic of these noodles all going around with brown veins running all throughout it. You know, where that graham cracker has penetrated between the noodles and like stuck it together. Saltines don't do that. So they crust, when they cut me a piece of that piece off and I try to scoop it up, I was like, and I was like eating it out of my hand, you know. So it looked good on the cardboard, on the plastic, but you pick it up and try to eat it, it was no dice. And so I ran into some thoroughbreds that knew how to throw down in the kitchen, and they showed me how to make a pizza. And so today's pizza actually is a barbecue beef pizza. And the ingredients that we used to use inside, they used to sell these packages, these like foil packages that didn't have to be refrigerated, of barbecue beef tips. And so I wanted to use all authentic, real ingredients to do this, but I couldn't find any of that. So I just bought a little pack of about a pound of beef tips, and I cut them up and I sauteed them in barbecue sauce. I cut a small onion up and put in there too. Just to give it some flavor. And we could get an onion and sometimes bell pepper and stuff. You know, dudes worked in the kitchen, and sometimes they'll come out of there strapped up, you know, with bell peppers and onions and all kind of stuff on them. And they'll come knocking on the doors talking about, hey man, I got a bell pepper and an onion for a pack of squares, a pack of cigarettes. And so, you know, if I didn't carry that, but sometimes I buy some packs just to have in case dude came by, and I could buy some stuff like that just on a special occasion. And so I did cut up an onion in here. And so beef tips is one of the ingredients, and we're gonna add that in a minute. But the other ingredient is chili. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw this chili in the microwave, and I'm gonna get it going so we can, you know, put that on there first. We'll put the chili on there first because it'll be easier to spread than just putting them chunky beef tips and you try to spread that around. That ain't gonna go too well. In the meantime, another ingredient that we're gonna use is cheese. We're gonna put cheese topping on it. They sold blocks of Velveeta just like this, the same size. For, I don't know, maybe $5 or something. And so I already chopped up some Velveeta. I threw a little bit of milk in there just to give it a little creaminess, because we're gonna spread that on top, because there ain't no piece of it ain't got cheese, right? Another ingredient with the barbecue beef tips, shout out to my Christian brother Dave Raymond, AKA Sweet Baby Ray, for this sweet and spicy barbecue sauce. This is my favorite one that they got. And Sweet Baby Ray's, if you ain't never had it before, I don't know where you at in the country, but most states that I've been to, maybe 5 or 10 states I've seen in grocery stores, people know about Sweet Baby Ray's. And this sweet and spicy, this that gunpowder right here. Another ingredient that I like to use, because I like to eat a lot of hot stuff. And in prison, typically people eat a lot of hot stuff because the food is so bland and doesn't have much flavor. Hey, jalapenos. You put some jalapenos on it, it's gonna either like make it hot where you can't taste nothing, or it's gonna bring out a little flavor in it. And so I gotta take this chili. It kind of exploded in there. My wife gonna kill me. I gotta make sure I clean that up before she get back. So I think the chili, I'm gonna heat it up a little bit more. Let me throw my little thing on there, my splatter guard. So we got the chili. I put the jalapeno peppers. If you like the real vivid jalapeno flavor taste, you can just put whole jalapenos and sprinkle them on the top. You can dice them up and sprinkle them on the top, or you can cook them in with the meat. I cooked mine in with the meat. Whenever I cooked my barbecue beef in prison, I would put this all in my crock pot. I put the barbecue beef in there with all my other ingredients, onions, peppers, stuff like that, and I let that just marinate and just slow cook for like 3-4 hours. Get that meat nice and tender, and it be smelling all good in the cell, and it even come out the cell. People like, dang man, what you in there firing up? I be like, man, go ahead on somewhere, man. Like, go ahead on. This ain't got your name on it. This is all for the boy right here. And so that's what we would do, adding those ingredients. Pretty much anything else that you could get your hands on or that they had in the commissary, you could add to the pizza. And so what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna pour this chili right on here like this. And you can add as much chili as you want. Now this is just 1 can of chili. I haven't made a pizza in years. I made tons of them years ago. And so I couldn't quite remember, you know, how many soups I was gonna use, how much chili I needed. So actually I probably would have wanted another can of chili with this, because that's a pretty big crust right there. And so then you just take this and you want to spread it on. So what's this remind y'all of? Remind you of like pizza sauce, right? Pasta sauce or whatever that you put on your pizza. So you spread this on here. The one thing on a pizza usually that you'll see, if it's not a Chicago deep dish, you'll see that the edges of the pizza won't have anything, right? It'll be kind of like light colored around the edge, and then you'll get the sauce and stuff. That's not how these pizzas go here. You want to push that all the way to the edge. You don't want to leave no edge that's uncovered, because you're going to eat all of this. And so you want to spread this out to the edges like this. Try to get it covered as much as you can. Like I said, for this one, 2 cans of chili would have been money. It'd have gave me a lot more sauce. But it's cool. You know, it's all good. I'm really just doing this for a display. I'm going to tear it up though. When I get done with this video, I'm going to go on smash with this. And so you get your chili on there like that. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cheese started so we can get it melted and ready. For the cheese, we go to the microwave, throw it in a bowl. And you know, we get that heated up you wanna kinda do that at the end, because it'll get nice and runny, but then it'll start cooling and it'll congeal on you, and then it won't really spread. The next thing you wanna do is get your beef tips. And so you take your beef tips and just kind of sprinkle a little bit in different, kind of like in clumps in different areas. That'll make it easy to spread whenever you get ready to spread it here in a minute. So let me get that in there. All right. You know, a lot of times when we made pizzas and we did stuff like this, many times we would think about other people. You know, we'd have other people in mind that, you know, they didn't really get extra money. This is a premium meal in prison. You know, these beef tips might be like about $3 or $4 a pack, and that's really, really expensive. and it's not as many as this. It might be like half this amount. So not a lot for that price. And a lot of people couldn't afford meals like this. And so what we used to do, I would say probably about 90% of the time when us brothers got together, and we probably once a week, we get together, make a big meal like a pizza, nachos, burritos, different fried rice, stuff like that. We would always account for making enough for a couple extra people that really couldn't afford it. And out of those, maybe we call it maybe 3 or 4 people that couldn't afford it, we would actually pick a couple Christian brothers that couldn't afford it, that really didn't get money from the outside, and we'd invite them. And we'd also invite a couple non-believers, you know, people that weren't Christians. And so we were trying to take care of the family of God, you know, people that's around, you know, that are believers that really don't have money and can't have meals like this. But then we try to do some outreach, you know, with some people that weren't believers, and we make it, and then we go knock on some doors, you know, and we say, hey, man, you hungry? We got a pizza over here, man. You want to hop in? And a lot of times they be like, man, I ain't got nothing to put on it, because it's not the norm for somebody to invite you to a meal to eat without saying, hey, you need to put something in on it. And so to go to one of these guys and tell them, hey, you want to come eat this meal with us, they would oftentimes be like, hey, man, I ain't got nothing to put in on it. And we'd be like, that's cool. We don't want you to put nothing in on it. We just want you to come on down here and eat with us. And so it became a beautiful way to love our neighbor. You know, the Bible tells us that we should love our neighbor, you know, like we love ourselves. And I don't know about you, but I can become a very selfish individual at times. And, you know, I find myself loving me more than anybody else, or just loving me and loving nobody else. And so I have to be cognizant to be thinking about other people and to love them. And so making meals like this in prison, a lot of times, at least for me and a handful of us, it was a time for us to say, hey, we want to be intentional about reaching out to others and showing them the love of Christ. And you know what? I like to eat, and they kind of say like that's when the best relationships form, and that's when people are more vulnerable and willing to talk and become friendly, is around like a dinner table. And so that's why we would do things like that, to just try to do some outreach and stuff. So, you know, it's a beautiful thing. So like, when's the last time you've done something like that? When's the last time you've invited someone over to your house to have a meal, or maybe you've invited somebody out to lunch to have a meal and you pay for it? You know, when's the last time you've done something like that? When you found a need that someone has and God has blessed you with the ability to meet that need, and then you've actually met it. You know, some of us, a lot of us, maybe some of you, you know, it's been a while. You know, maybe it's somebody listening to this that's never done anything like that before. And so, you know, this is just a way, you know, that we can be demonstrating the love of God to other people around us, to try to be a living example of what it should be like for a servant of God as he serves Christ. And so I got my chili on here. I got my barbecue beef tips on here. I got my cheese melted perfectly. Now you can add other stuff to this cheese. You can put the jalapenos in there, make a jalapeno cheese, or whatever you want to do. But now I got some ingredients here that I'm sure that's going to kind of mess you up more than these ingredients have messed you up. A key component of any pizza, especially a barbecue beef pizza, is hot chips. Now, I done knocked about half the bag off already, right? I never tried this brand. Man, these hot chips fire. So you want to save one of those noodle bags for this, empty it out really good, get the crumbs out from the noodles, put the chips in there and crunch them up. You don't want to crunch them into dust, but you want to crunch them up pretty good. And so put the chips in there. Yeah, one for me, one for the bag. Crunch the chips up, put them in there. I know this video getting kind of long. Y'all probably like, man, this dude video is long. You know what? Everything ain't for everybody. So hopefully you can get some kind of enjoyment, something spiritual out of this. You know, and if you do, pass it on to somebody else. My hope is that maybe there's some people watching that have some loved ones incarcerated that have talked about making meals and stuff, but they don't know what that looks like. And now they have an idea of what something like that looks like. So now they can feel like, okay, I know what my son or my daughter or my friend, my brother, my uncle, my cousin, now I know what their life looks like when they talk about making a meal. So you want to take this, you want to sprinkle the chips on there like this. Man, this sprinkling really good right now too. And you can not use chips. I recommend using chips, man, because again, that crust can be kind of bland because it's just some butt naked ramen noodles. I didn't put the season packs in there. So it really don't matter what kind of noodles you get, but you don't put the season packs on there. So you put this on here. Another ingredient, ranch dressing. Yeah, I know you like ranch dressing. Ranch dressing. Now, you put it on wings, right? Chili, garlic wings you might get and dip it in some buffalo or some ranch. You just want to drizzle it. It's getting kind of stuck in there. Come on now. Hope this thing don't explode on me. There we go. Just drizzle you some ranch on there. You don't need a lot. You know, you kind of put as much on there as what you like. You know, if you really like ranch dressing, then you put a lot on there. The last ingredient that you put on there, some honey. Again, I know you like honey. Like, what the heck? Yeah, man. It's that sweet and savory. You just drizzle some honey, some light honey across that bad boy like that. This is going to be some good eating here. All right. And again, put as much or as little honey on there as you like. And so that's it. That's the barbecue beef pizza. And the last but not least, we got to drizzle some of this cheese on here. And you can use as much cheese as you want to or as little as you want. I think most people like cheese unless they lactose intolerant. And if you lactose intolerant, I don't want to be around you if you eat some cheese. But yeah. So you don't, this is a cheesy one right here, boy. I think I put a little bit too much cheese, but I ain't gonna waste none. Shoot, cheese is fire. There we go, get that cheese in there. And then the last thing we do, now see, if there would probably be like 4 people eating this pizza. 4, maybe 5 people. And so what we would do is we would all surround the pizza. We'd pray. Father, we thank you so much for this meal. We thank you for the ingredients, the love that you've given us, and the love that we're able to show others, Lord. So bless this meal in Jesus' name. Amen. We pray for the food. We get our spoon out, which will be a plastic spoon, and we just dig in. Just like this. You don't cut it and eat it like a pizza. You just, That's fire. You can also make a tuna pizza too. You use sour cream or onion chips instead of hot chips. You make tuna, like a tuna casserole type thing, and you make it the same way. But we'd just eat. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 people here, all eating. And a lot of times we end up just meeting in the middle. And if there's any leftovers, we'd cut our little section out, put it in our bowl, and we'd take it and eat it later. Maybe I cut a little bit of mine and give some more away or whatever, but that's the prison pizza, y'all. And that's fire.